Right, this is Sam Serious. Another episode, but this time on Factorio. It's been a while since I've done this, so figured don't neglect Factorio. So, I've pretty much done a whole lot on Fulgora. So I'm doing on combinations of train stations and bot networks to route a lot of items scrap around to bypass the issues I'm having with the ocean. So I'm having all these machines, whatnot, just route all the items that way into a larger island that is then processing more materials for Fulgora related products, its basic functions, and as well as to electromagnetic science. So I pretty much set up a logistics system to where a ship dedicated to Fulgora science, to electromagnetic sciences would be automatically sent up and then would be routed back to Novice via request system. Now, because of the fact I'm scrapping everything through a scrapper anyways, I decided to, excuse me, to basically try to max out quality on this planet. This island can only go up to quality module 2s, but I do have quality module 3s being made elsewhere. But before I do that, I want to kind of discuss what my logistic strategy is. So obviously I mentioned trains and the robotic network. The robot network is the biggest means of routing all the fluids around, or routing all the items around. First of all, let me convert these chests to non-requester chests. Looking at certain things, I'm realizing I didn't need to make things a certain way or to make too much of things, but it's a learning curve. It's a fun one. So the whole idea is that all the scrap will go into a central area where all of it's being converted into their products. Anything that is of normal quality will be routed down to normal means, being sorted out by a string of splitters that are acting as item filters. Whenever these chests are at a certain item, below a certain item threshold, the stack inserters will grab and put the items in there until they're fully full. Once that's full, the inserters will just not pick up anything via chest conditions, as well as also allowing this belt to turn on to allow any overflowing items that can't go into the chest to go through another series of recyclers. All these machines here, they're using quality modules. I'm using the rare grade quality for the quality 2 modules. The rest is just pretty much a lot of basic materials that are recreating more complicated products and same materials, but under 3 different grades of quality. Now, I've installed modules all over the place with just random chests that are not specified with the filter. Those are overflow chests. Should I have items that are quality from these active provider chests be overflowing and not being able to put things into any more of the logistic storage chests, they'll just be just based on the natural behavior for the bot network to try to put items wherever it can. It will do that and put things into chests. Seems to me it's prioritizing unfiltered chests last, which is perfect for like a overflow system for these recyclers to break down into more complicated products. And even if I'm getting a lot of rare products out of them with those spots available, I'm at least having a means of syncing them at that needed basis. And should there be any spots or any materials of any grade available, those will be routed into the filtered into the storage chests that have filters instead. So heavily rely on a logistics system does require a whole lot of power. Space on Fulgora is tight. I would recommend making the rare accumulators, for they have three times the energy capacity versus a regular accumulator, as well as making use of the highest grade of lightning rod collectors available. I'm using the lightning collector. The lightning rods will work, but the lightning collectors are a bit more efficient in terms of how they handle power and the range. Now, the strategy of mitigating robot loss from lightning. I'm using rare grade lightning collectors due to the fact that they have a considerable boost in range, and that in tandem with going across a little peninsula of the oil fields and whatnot will help maximize their detection range. Now, there's going to be a little bit of gaps here, so there's some areas where loss of logistic robots is going to be inevitable, but it's only like one robot for every 10 minutes that I'm losing. Risk is very minimal. So this was my starting island, which is pretty much doing nothing but processing materials now. I'm thinking about repurposing this one to basically stop it from being wasteful. I might have to dismantle this whole island. This way I'm not wasting resources. Yep, there's another robot in this area always. But this one should prioritize this 40 million field for this area. That should help save me some troubles. Now, there's a few additional islands I decided to claim to as well. This area being gigantic for item routing. Again, I think I may have overbuilt this area a little bit, but that's alright. Important thing, it's working. Ooh, that's a lot of those materials. I was able to connect a lot of these islands together with the logistics network. The quality is coming out of these miners directly. That's why I kind of resorted to making use of logistic robots. So it doesn't seem to me that... Oh, they're grabbing whatever they can. I guess these bots are prioritizing quality pieces. But all the scrap is going to these yards, being processed down. Same overflow strategy at this island. Now this island will also have its resources go up more towards the northwest of this other base, where a bigger electromagnetic science system is present. There should be like twice the production for electromagnetic sciences. All these machines ain't always running, but they're barely keeping up to a point where they're supplying a decent amount. Production statistics here for Fulgora per hour. I think I'm gonna get a per minute basis. I am producing, for the moment, based on what's averaged on these graphs, oh, this is consumption, not production. Don't mind me being located. So I'm producing about almost 300 electromagnetic science packs per minute from this here. Everything seems to be, for the most part, keeping up. The only reason why it's stalling is because, well, I'm slightly unproducing resources to support all these. But it's working. These electromagnetic plants are nice. Not only are they faster, but they also have a 50% productivity bonus to all the products, so these are very efficient when it comes to like electronics and stuff. And these work even further with the productivity modules. Eventually, we'll want to upgrade these to productivity 3s. They may slow these down a little bit more, but at least we'll produce more of those resources more efficiently. And of course, everything's qualityed up. I have a similar production for the most basic resources in this island. Pretty much the same deal. Rely on the RobotNet system. I got two areas where all the science or the where all the quality 3 modules are being produced. Looks like that's kind of peaked out for the moment, so I'm gonna work on upgrading a bunch of stuff here. I might as well turn all the I might as well convert these systems that way. This way, maximizing their values. You know, at this point, I would say any quality 2s to quality 3s. I'm going to do that for several kind of rarities. This might work out as intended. Exactly. Did I mess up with this here? Wow, I messed up a long time ago, didn't realize it. I'm going to focus on the base production area here for quality 3 modules. With that area, I've been pretty much prioritizing all the miners and stuff for quality modules. These islands, alright, don't have as much resources versus the 52 million island here. So these are going to eventually get harvested up pretty fast. I have about 600% productivity, so these are going to be lasting like 6 times longer than what they originally were intended to be. But as always, they will eventually deplete themselves, even though they're producing so many things for free rapidly. And with the changes of the quality modules, these will do this stuff over time. Now, because I've advanced enough, I was able to get the mech suit. Took the time to make the mech armor a rare grade. And I also took the time to upgrade some things too as well. With this planet, I'm deciding to be quality focused. I've decided to make a bunch of quality 3 personal roboports. With these being rare grade. Same deal with the exoskeletons. I'm not too worried about battery storage. Eventually, most of these will get upgraded. Probably the fission power too as well. Though that does require finessing around with uranium a bit, and I personally don't feel like messing around with that right now. More than anything, I want this episode to start focusing on progression. Before I focus on that though, as y'all can probably see already, two ships designed for Gleba. I will go ahead and queue Gleba. That should be fast. I did some additions to Volcanus. Of course, I did some fixes because the more I come back to this planet, the more problems I find on it. But I've decided to create a rail network just specifically for tungsten. But as time goes by, it might expand onto other resources such as calcite and coal and a few other things, but mostly right now, tungsten. This is not going to disappear anytime soon, but this is only at 54K. I have a small cluster here, a 1.8 mil and a 778K mil, 78K here. So that's about right around 2.5 million. That times 6, that's about, I would say about 50 million. This will yield about 50 million tungsten before any other benefits bonuses apply for productivity. But that's a small change with Volcanus. Novice, same deal, though I am taking the time to use a request system to slowly upgrade the all of the transport belts in this net here, in this space here. This way I can maximize resource throughput, regardless if it's needed or not. Figured I might as well upgrade everything to turbo belts. Office is holding up strong, as always, because the fact I ain't got the resources yet, but for this, but I'm still having to periodically remotely drive tanks around to repair the walls and to take out any nests that are getting too close for development. I had to deal with the emergency situation here and then apply the small area where these turrets are at in order to deny any further expansions to the bases that have already threatened the defensive line. As expected, Novice requires a mild degree of maintenance. Regardless, though, things are progressing very well. Now, I do acknowledge one thing, though. Obviously, I'm getting ready to go to Gleba. Shut off personal logistics here. So, when it comes to Gleba, it's going to be another military-heavy planet. So I have to make sure that things are well suited to have things defended. From what I've gathered is that this planet has been a troubling planet for most players in the Factorio community. Now, I have took a lot of hours on this world here to expand infrastructure on Fulgora as well as other planets. Because of that, I've mostly focused my sciences towards bonuses. Mining productivity is real high. I've got robot logistics extremely high. I'm working on productivity for low density frames and steel right now after Gleba. Something I do take note about Gleba though is that the enemies there have a higher resistance against like laser weapons and physical damage. Explosive damage, on the other hand, they're not as high on that one. So because of that, I'm going to have to take my time to research rockets and stuff. And I'll want to focus a lot of my research afterwards to maximizing rocket damage. Luckily, I can focus more towards the well, first of all, I'm obviously going to enqueue these here to maximize damage, but I will want to make use of the agricultural science for the infinite rocket damage. And that's like, oh, an additional 50% per cycle. It does require agricultural science. And I have to be careful with the agricultural science, for those can expire. Additionally, The eggs will hatch too as well if neglected. So if I were to go to Fulgora, I will have to have a strong means of disposing of these things before they become a problem. Anyhow, I could talk to more about plans. I got to get this set up now. I want to have this for agricultural science is 0. Wait, is this? That's for Gleba. Space cargo. That's fine. I thought I already set up a spot for agricultural science. Oh, did I get the wrong ship? Yeah, I think I got the wrong ship. So as always, I have a transport ship for basic resources across different planets. And then I will be having a transport ship dedicated for science. So this will be there until first of all, I really wish I can clone. I really wish I can just clone these things and edit them. So obviously, cargo. Oh, item count. This will be for water drums, 460, of course. Greater than or equal to. Wait, that's an office exclusive deal. And this is what, the transfer ship? I'm just going to say as long as uranium bullets aren't less than 500 magazines, and as long as and there's been about 480 seconds of inactivity. This will go to Volcanus and do its thing. I want all these ships to go back and forth between Volcanus and Fulgora for gaining the resources. So we'll go to Gleba. Item count. So as long as carrying rounds is greater than or equal to 500. And this here will go once this here is at 9,000. And of course, the interrupts would take place should any of these will fall short. 500 ammunition should be enough to, that's for fuel issues. There's that. Yeah, that's for fuel issues and ammunition issues. Now this is making its requests for resources. I'll definitely do a Fulgora supply for this planet. Strange. I mean, this will work. Once this planet's been stocked up with all the Volcanic exclusive products, it'll make its rounds back to Novice. Then we'll want to top off there. After a minute, Fulgora, do its stuff there. And then I'll have to keep an eye on what's going on with the ships so that way I can catch the trip. Alright, time for a little bit of trial and error to see how things go. I've pretty much emptied my inventory. I guess I have to give up my uranium rounds on this one too. I mean, I can't just simply wait in there. Well, I mean, it's probably stocked up now. I'm just going to tell it to go to Fulgora directly. I'm going to save 480 seconds. Let's say 60. Now, on top of that, I'm going to have this planet request like 400 rare grade guys from that planet, and then 400 rare grade construction bots from that planet. I'm not going to worry about quality with Fulgora, right? Not Fulgora, on for Gleba. Besides, I need to exactly see what the challenge is. I have a good idea what the challenge on Gleba is. But actually experiencing it is a different matter. Excuse me about that. I had to project my voice loudly today. Anyhow, I will go ahead and make a cut here and then resume the episode when I'm able to progress towards Gleba. Okay, so I'm here now. I'm going to select the Gleba transport. Now I am going to make some on-the-go changes for novice supply. Actually, I'm just going to create requests for those. They'll come back on a second trip. In the meantime, I can just send a bunch of stuff down. Sending in all the robots for this area. I'm definitely going to be using a bunch of these with my suit. Figured why not have nothing but rare bots go into the whole area. They have better performance. No more requests. Alright, off to Gleba I go. Now, supposedly... I'll open up the Factorio. Should be any big gigantic asteroids coming around. So, Gleba briefing. Humid, swampy plant, rich exotic vegetation have become cultivated using that and processed into that. Okay. I mean, it describes that the creatures are, that the pentapods are present, of course, but it doesn't exactly describe how they tick. Is there any statistics on what can be found here? It is nothing but mediums. So this is mostly for carbonic asteroids. Now it's probably from Fulgora, most likely. So it's doing its stuff there. I will go ahead and drop to Gleba. Here I go, going down in a cramped cargo pod. So welcome to Gleba to me, but before I do that though, I better deposit all of the basics. That. So that's enough for some of the basic infrastructure. I don't think I got enough for power though. I'm not too concerned. I'll be able to make do with whatever's available. It's a little rainy here. Before I do though. Okay, see what this area is all about. So it's a bit of a lush planet. So I spotted some egg grafts already. I do believe that's necessary for whatever this production chain is for the sciences and other Gleba exclusive products. Not my intention to do that, but okay. I got like what 15 minutes. That's not much time. I see that going out of control so fast with these guys. Okay, so even that's very little range. I ain't got much range to deal with these guys, so I can't exactly challenge myself with the stompers. Like, I'm able to deal a decent amount of damage against them, but it's not worth it. All of these put in here. Oh, no solar. That's full of spoilage. Something just explode on me? Is it these trees? Boom puff. Yes. Interesting. So the boom puffs are explosive, a bit painful for expansion. So what I could probably do with this ship here then is I got the means of being able to create a bunch of heating towers with. And how do I make those again? Those are like what? Boilers. Okay, this is something from for novice. And And then I want a bunch of heat exchangers. Let's see how those are crafted. Let's craft both those. Okay, so it's only assembly machines. That works with me. I'm not going to worry about quality with those for a moment. But for now, I will set up a lazy solution here for these. What is the maximum stack size of these? 20. Okay, pretty much normal. You know what? I will throw in quality with that. And then on top of Gleba transport, I will on novice supply. Add in a request for a stack of that. For sure, the heat exchangers. Obviously, the heated pipes. Turbines. I'm surprised I didn't include all the chests. Actually, I'll make that a Volcanus exclusive. Storage. seconds does it take to craft one of these? That base 10 seconds. I'll go ahead and just cut video here, do some personal exploring, and then see what else to do then and there. I, for the moment, seem to need to really plan out more logistics. Alrighty, so after a lot of trial and error, I was able to get a basic automation loop set up with Fulgora. It took me a while to get everything jump started, while even finding a system that is able to self-sustain itself. So, from what I'm seeing with Fulgora, all the resources that your pig produces being heavily dependent upon two things so far. The Yumiko seeds. Yeah, the Yumako plant, the Yumako fruit, and the jelly nut. Now, both of these resources can be harvested by the agricultural tower. Now, these agricultural towers do have to be strategically placed to maximize their coverage. This way, it can get the most amount of the trees planted. Caveat with that is for every tree harvested releases spores in the air, and that's what draws the pentapods into the farming areas should they be attracted to it. So the good news is I don't have to worry so much about my primary base being directly attacked by the pentapods. This area, the agricultural farms, on the other hand, are. So those are areas I likely will have to guard very heavily. So I got enough to where I have just the basics. Eventually I'll be expanding off of this and creating more of the respective tiles for them. In the biolab, you are able to create the you are able to make the artificial soils and stuff for them. So the jelly nuts are good for like iron and power, though the Yumiko is ideal for copper and nutrients. So I've pretty much created a few nutrient loops you're using spoilage. The assembly machine's just there for a jump start should there be a lack of nutrients going around for all the machines. What I'm wanting to do is have this machine produce just enough to keep this bio chamber going to produce more of the nutrients, since it has a base productivity of 50%. That with additional productivity modules, that adds to that. And I can loop this around to create the Yumako mash, that can then make turn the Yumako mash into more nutrients. And I can also do some copper bacteria too as well to generate some spoilage, but also to copper bacteria, when they spoil, they turn into copper ore. Similar deal with the jelly nut, except the jelly nut doesn't have a recipe to convert it into the jelly into nutrients. So this here does require a increased dependency on the Yumako seeds indirectly due to the nutrients that I can't yield. I'm also using the jelly nuts to power my base. Got the solar panels here just as a start, but even this large is very reduced with solar performance. So I wound up making use of a heating tower, which I'm burning wood and the jelly nuts in. All these stack inserters are reading the steam storage tanks and are only putting them are only putting fuel in at certain steam levels. This way, I'm able to throttle fuel usage without wasting excessive fuel, without having to waste steam too as well. So far I've been maintaining an average sweet spot right around 20,000 to 23,000 liters of steam. That seems to be doing the trick for the moment. These are what's producing most of the power right now. Jelly nets are very ideal for that. The heating towers will consume about 16 megawatts worth of power, but will produce about 40 megawatts worth of it. So these heating towers are almost as good as a nuclear reactor. It's smaller and fortunately doesn't have the neighboring bonus. Not that I know of anyways. I haven't experimented around with those much. I would have to play around more with these heating towers, but I'm having a feeling that they won't be having a neighbor bonus like the nuclear reactors do. No biggie. At least they're 200% more fuel efficient. Add a throttling system. So I'm using one set of the jelly nuts for the iron bacteria, another set of jelly donuts, jelly nuts, and I gotta get me some donuts. So I'm using the jelly here to then for bioflux. Bioflux requires jelly, and Yumako mash. And both of these are being produced at an overflow. I'm actually having a little splitter here on each of the circle modules to have an overflow. That overflows, which will then go into mass storage to be distributed across other machines, while maintaining a closed loop to keep these loops going. Additionally, I'm using two splitters here to separate the nutrients and the spoilage, so that way they're always guaranteed that they're positioned at specific lanes for the most part. Should there be any pieces that are deviating away from the lanes that they belong to, for whether it's whether it's like an output from a machine or whatnot, no worries. We'll just run it cycle through and then get sorted out by these two splitters again. That's how it is with all these circles. Any of these items that are spoiling also gets redirected back into here and possibly goes through the overflow. And while they're doing the thing, they're producing seeds. And those seeds are then through a logistics network being routed back to the agricultural towers to keep the trees growing. And for the looks of it, I have enough production to keep these very well sustained. Of course, I gotta keep these areas very well defended. There's always good more to explore on this planet, but should one of these go down, though, because of the fact that the resources spoil, I would be chancing things basically breaking themselves out. So it is possible to break out a little bit on Gleba alone, which will mean that I have to jumpstart the system and get another farm going. So I got all that going. I got the excess going into the buffer chest. Buffer chests are really good. They allow you to specify requests to go into one centralized location. And should there be any undesirable products in there that's not requested, it'll automatically trash them. So should these get spoiled, immediately to the I'll make this 800. Immediately to the spoilage buffer chest, these things go. Make that 800 too. Make these 800 to redirect more of the resources away. I'm not worried about the seeds. I haven't noticed the seeds having a spoilage timer, which is a relief. You know, I do wonder though. Okay, no, no. It would be nice if the seeds did have quality to them, to where quality would affect their growth speed. Wouldn't mind having a bunch of rare seeds going around. Anyhow, so without these loop and an overflow system, it's going to be a little tricky to get things going. But on top of that, things get even more spicier. When it comes to making a biochamber for the agricultural science, obviously I got the bioflux going in for the jelly beans, stuff like that, but also these things require pentapod eggs. When they spoil, they hatch. And they'll be a problem. Now the good news is I've created a system to where I'm able to create like a closed loop system for the pentapod eggs. This request chest is requesting the eggs. This here will have the nutrients being supplied, all going in here. And then a buffer chest will automatically request the pentapod eggs to go into it, just to be distributed across. Now, these requester chests that are supplying the pentapod eggs, they're supplying the pentapod eggs and bioflux. They're reading off of the buffer chest to see if there's any contents in them. Should the pentapod eggs be at a certain quantity, it will enable itself to accept any incoming items, which prompts robots to grab on here. But should there be inadequate pentapod eggs, because of the fact that this chest for the pentapod egg loop is always going to be on, this chest will always get priority to maintain a loop, but priority for a very small amount. This way, should anything break out, I'm not dealing with a horde that I can't control. Additionally, you want to keep the pentapod eggs fresh as possible. That means consuming all the older eggs first and constantly producing new eggs. So this means that you have to have a fast crafting system for these eggs and a big enough demand to sink them. So I'm basically using a uncommon grade biochamber aided by a rare beacon that has two module 2s on it, speed module 2s on it. This will make this produce the eggs a lot faster, and these three science labs are more than enough to sink all the pentapod eggs that are excess for the pentapod loop. So that's at least how it is with logistics robot. I'm going to have to play around for this belt because I'm feeling at some point that a large logistics robot network may not be ideal for the eggs, since a large network takes a lot of time and travel. Ain't got access to that yet. Was tempted for that. I don't have a means of shipping sciences out of this planet yet, so I'm going to have to make do with what I got. But I can at least give myself another boost in weapon damage. I might as well advance towards artillery too, as well, just to make effective use of research and time. Stone on this planet is scarce. I do have a very high productivity bonus with these, so these small batches are going to last me a good while. I do have a request system from from the buffer chest to get stocked up all the time. I would recommend using buffer chests for a request system, so that way space station is reading off of what the logistics net is saying, so that way their ship knows what to top things off with. I am seeking the copper ore and the iron ore into 2 foundries. I'm having to externally supply calcite from Volcanus. 1, I'm producing circuits. 2, I'm sinking circuits. Since I got circuits going, I might as well do this. That'll work. And all the circuit stuff will go over there, with these chests being more reserved for random stuff. That is once I unset the filters anyways. The stockpile is overkill, but it does at least give me a steady supply of resources that's guaranteed not to run out anytime soon. Now, in the biochambers, they are able to produce other things too as well. Like, I can do a whole lot of rocket fuel processing with them. I can turn the jelly into lubricant. Gotta make plastics. I can also do bacteria cultivation too as well. So I'm actually tempted to do like a closed loop system for bacteria, though it does require a fair amount of bioflux. It looks like it'd be more advanced to do that with versus what I'm doing before. Just based on the fact that it's producing 4 iron bacteria, so I'm getting a net gain of 3. I'll probably have to do like an overflow system with those. So I'm having a feeling that automation on Gleba is going to involve a whole lot of production loops in order to maintain fresh ingredients. That's why I'll be winding up doing a whole lot off camera. Then I'll have to get like a strong enough production loop system to allow me to make a mass rocket silo system like what I did with other planets for the sake of science distribution. Now, I do have one thing that I'm not exactly impressed about with Gleba specifically. And that's by the fact that the agricultural science has a lifespan. I'm going to have to figure out a serious way of being able to distribute those across space and still have them consumed significantly. What my worry is having them go into their labs to be processed just also spoil in the labs. I could probably sink it, but it'll be a whole lot of effort from Gleba being wasted. So I got some thinking to do. On the other hand, the spoilage from the labs could be used for other things for the future other than power sinking and nutrient stuff. I would have to play around with that. Yeah, I gotta start looking around, see what to plan out for the whole Gleba deal. I'm thinking I may have to do a bunch of satellite bases that are being supplied by rockets, or that are having their own dependencies on not independent with their own rocket business. So everything's not being extremely centralized. And then I can have all those resources too as well that And have like a central production base too as well for infrastructure expansion. That's probably what I'll have to do to keep things effective in Gleba here. Kind of like how I'm doing with Fulgora. I got a lot of work to do. Oh, and by the way, these biochambers, they're twice as fast compared to the chemical plant that you make from novice. Not to mention they have a 50% productivity bonus to them built into them. So with some recipes, they're already superior. We do a fair amount of oil cracking at a faster rate with these. Do these require nutrients though? Oh. It requires nutrients, so that's a big caveat. If I were to use something like this on Volcanus, I would have to make sure that stuff can grow over there while being able to have the logistic space for these. That'll be a future problem to think about when I want to really ramp things up. I know Volcanus could definitely would benefit from the upgrade. I just gotta think about how to route things out spatially, considering I have these chemical plants close together already in here. This is where I'm producing a whole lot of the oils and stuff on Volcanus. Thanks to coal liquefaction. Anyhow, this episode's getting ready to extend itself if it hasn't already. In that regards, I'm going to wish y'all a fine day, and I'll see y'all next time on Gleba.